I just passed a prison. I can't imagine that. That would be quite the lifestyle. This school was completely rebuilt. This used to Park Place Middle School. This place used to be an absolute shithole. I played basketball in these this place was completely rebuilt. It was a complete shithole. The roof actually, when we were playing I was in I think 6th grade, 5th or 6th or 7th grade. I think it was 6th, and we played basketball out there, and a bunch of schools from around came, and we all played on Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons there, played each other. It was a league. It was like a spring league type of thing. That school was just, oh my gosh, it looks so much nicer now, obviously because it's new, but I remember playing one game, and a chunk of the ceiling fell onto the floor, and it almost like hit someone, so they had to like stop the game, obviously, because the roof was falling down. The school was, I mean, it had to be at least 60 years old. I mean, at least. I don't know. I was only probably, well, how old was I? 12 or 13 years old at the time, so I didn't really know how to age buildings. But that was an old one. All the, you know, I don't know who decides what schools get rebuilt. Some of them are very old. I guess it's just, you know, they vote for it, I guess, if they feel like, if enough people in the community feel like it needs, you know, state assisted funding and if they're willing to pay for it, they have to pay, each citizen, I think, that lives there has to pay a certain amount of taxes for it, and then the state will pay a certain amount because it's an education expense or investment. But there's some schools that you go by in a little bit more of, even in the city, actually, in Seattle and some other, and I'm sure in cities all across America, there's some really old schools around that are, you know, towards the end of their useful life. So I guess it's good to see a new school, because you know that will be they'll be able to use that for many years to come. That was a nice looking school. But who knows? Maybe, I mean, they might not ever be able to use it with this virus, right? It doesn't appear to me like people are going to be able to go back to school, at least normally, right now. I think they started sending some kids back to school, and you know, a bunch of them tested positive for it. And again, I don't think young people are really susceptible at a high rate to be impacted by it, to die from it. I think I want to go right. I don't think young people are susceptible to dying from it, but they are. It's been proven that they do get the virus, and then they can give it to other people. So if you send a bunch of kids into school, they're going to be passing everything along to each other, and then when they go back home, you know, with their parents or grandparents, or just interact with people who are older, I think it's very believable to think that it's going to transmit to older people, and it's going to impact some of them very badly, right? This is another silver streak. Yeah, wow, those guys are all over the place. It's a cool bridge here. I mean, it's realistic to think though that there could be 100 other viruses just as bad as this one. I mean, this one basically came out of thin air. All of a sudden, you know, I can't remember a time when our country decided to just shut down everything for such an extended period of time. I mean, that's something out of a movie. If you haven't seen the movie Contagion with Matt Damon, that gives you a pretty interesting look at what really could happen if you get something that's very deadly. I think like 17 to 20% of the population died in that movie because of that disease they had, which is a lot of people. Right now it's 100 and, well, let's just look at the United States. I think it's somewhere around 150,000 to 200,000 right now. So if let's just say 200,000, I mean, that's 200,000 times 100 was that 20 million? I think so, right? 10 is 2 million. Yeah, so 20 million. So we have 300. So it's way less than 1/10%. So it's a really small percentage of people that are actually dying from this. It's way less than 1/10%. It's probably 0.0, it's closer to it's probably like 0.06% of people are dying. So 6% of 1%, if you understand that math. So that's a really small percentage of people. But, you know, obviously, you know, they're trying to save as many people as possible, but you got to think about the impact it has on everyone else, right? A lot of businesses are going to go out of business because of this. A lot of people are going to lose their job. You know, so, and a lot of people have still died from it. I mean, 150,000 people is not a small amount of people, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not like it's like something from a movie where 20% of your population dies. I mean, 20% of the population in the United States would be, well, what's 20% of, it'd be 70 million people. There's 350 million people, so 35 divided by 5 is 7, so 70 million. So we have 69,850,000 to go before we reach the ranks of that movie. And that virus, at least that was portrayed in that movie, was something where you could almost instantly start dying. I mean, after like 2 days, you were looking very bad, and then, you know, you start convulsing and you're dead. You start, like, you know, they look really pale and then they're dead. So if that, and I think it's totally believable that something like that is out there, and that it could have that impact on humans. After all, we're just animals. So if there's something that breaks down our system that we can't fight, then a large percentage of us will die. And it's a little bit of a scary thing too, because like I said, this whole thing kind of came out of mid-air or thin air. And I think it's easy to believe that there could be other diseases or other airborne illnesses that could affect people just as bad. Again, though, I think it's good that it's only really, I think it's, well, not good, but I think it's the least bad that it's only really heavily impacting older people. If it was something that was wiping out people that were like in their 20s or even younger at the same rate, then obviously, you know, it's more serious, because older people have weakened immune systems compared to younger people. So if it was something very bad, it would be killing everyone indiscriminately. You know, if you were 20, it would affect you just the same as if you were 70. But again, the system of a younger person can typically not be as adversely affected by some sort of disease. Again, there still have been young people that have died from it that I've seen, so that's obviously not good. And of course, any old people that die, I'm not saying it's obviously I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I think it could be a lot worse based on the you know, a total unknown of what a disease is, right? I mean, it could be something that, like I said, that if you walk outside, that like nuclear reaction, right? You look at being exposed to that stuff, that has an impact on everyone and will kill you. It might kill you tomorrow, and it might totally fuck you up for the next 10 years and then kill you, right? I mean, you just go to YouTube and type in Chernobyl, the guys that were shoveling the nuclear reactive material out of Chernobyl. Just go ahead and look at that. Look at what happened to those guys. I mean, you go in there for a minute and you're forever changed, because that stuff messes with your immune system. It actually messes with your DNA. It like reorganizes your DNA, and it changes like the makeup of your cells. So that's a great reason why nuclear energy